Well, hello, class. Today I have something that I think you're going to enjoy. To set up what we're going to look at today, I have a question for you. How many people live in Southern California? I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to visit Los Angeles, San Diego, that whole Southern California area, but if you have, you know that there's an awful lot of people there. In fact, if you look at the population statistics, there's about 20 to 30 million people that live in Southern California. The entire population of the United States is somewhere around 280 to 300 million. So basically, that's 1 out of every 10 people in the United States living in this rather small region in the United States. And if you think about the type of weather that they have in Southern California, you realize that it's not the rainiest place in the country. And one thing that you might find yourself asking is, where do 20 to 30 million people get their fresh water? Now, certainly, Southern California lies on an ocean, and they have plenty of water nearby, but it's not the type of water you can drink because you can't drink salt water. We have technologies that we can use to turn salt water into fresh water, but at this point in history, they're too expensive. We don't do it wholesale across the world. You find these desalination plants in certain parts of the world, but not others, and not to any great extent here in the United States. So the question is, where would all of these 20 to 30 million people get their fresh water? And to even think about this from a larger perspective, how can a city exist without fresh water? Well, obviously it can't. What I'd like you to do before we continue on is answer a few questions and send me an email with the answers by midnight on Monday, August 29th. So that should be next week if you're actually viewing this video when you should be. This assignment will count as a question on your first midterm exam. So, if I was going to have 20 questions, I'll now have 19 questions, and this will count as one of those questions. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's worth about half a letter grade. So make sure you do this. I'm not asking for a novel about this. Just take your time, do a little research, and come up with a few answers to these questions. Okay, first of all, what I'd like to know is, where is your home? Which city is it in, or do you live rural? Which state, or if you're not from the U.S., which country is it? Describe a little bit about where your home is, and find out, where does the water come from that folks in your area drink? What is the natural source of this water? Does it originate as well water? Does it come from a river that's treated? Is it brought to your house through canals? Do you have any idea? See if you can find out. So that is one of your assignments, is to figure out what is the source, the natural source of the fresh water that you drank as you grew up near your home. And then I want you to think about the bigger picture. Do you think there are any consequences for producing and bringing that water to you? What are they? Does it lower streams and threaten river life? Does it result in aquifer compaction? What kind of effects could you expect from a natural water source that you used as a kid? So do a little digging into this and see what you can find. Okay, to continue on, today what we will be looking at is how a city like Los Angeles, that has really no viable local sources of fresh water, what it takes for them to bring water to their city, and what the consequences of this are. So we're going to see a video today. It's one of my favorite videos about water. And as you watch this, what you'll see is that there are some incredible economic effects for bringing this water to Los Angeles, some social problems, political consequences. There's been death, there's been destruction. We almost fought a civil war. Arizona actually had guns pointed at California over taking of water, and this was 50, 60 years ago. So when we think about, you probably heard at some point in your life that we might fight wars in the future over water. Well, it almost happened here in the U.S. quite some time ago. So this video will show the extreme example of how a dry place like Los Angeles gets its water, what the consequences are, and as you watch this, think about what must happen in a place like, let's say, Mexico City, that has 20 to 30, probably closer actually to 35 million people, more people than in Southern California, but in a country that does not have the same economic strength that we have in here in the U.S. Wow, what happens in a place like Mexico City that has more people but less money for water infrastructure? So I kind of want you to think about the big picture as you're watching this example of Los Angeles. So this video that I'm about to show is something called Cadillac Desert. It's part one of a 6-part video series that was based on a book that was written back in the 1980s. We'll watch one more of the 6 videos from this series a little later in the semester. It'll be a video about how water has been developed through the Grand Canyon and near the Grand Canyon on the Colorado River. So what I'd like you to do, I will show you the video right now. Watch this video, answer the questions that I gave you previously. If any questions come up during the viewing of this video, write them down and bring them to class when I get back, and we'll go through and talk about them. As we go through this video today, I may stop the video from time to time and just add a little bit of information that may not be in the video that I think you may find of interest. So what we'll do, we'll start the video, we'll go through it. I may stop it on occasion, add a little bit. Any questions that you have, please write them down, bring them to class in a couple weeks, and don't forget to email me the answers to the questions I posed to you a little earlier. So with that, let's get started.